Hi, everyone. Welcome to Balance Consciousness. Jess here. I hope you guys are doing well. This week, the balance talk is going to be about the concept of trust. And I'm going to go into it both from kind of like a macro spiritual perspective, but also on the more micro approach in terms of our relationship with the self. I want to start with self trust. I know that this hits people hard in their bodies when I bring it up. You know, if you're someone who suffers from decision paralysis, I like to call it, or things like that, or you're suffering from imposter syndrome, if you're in a constant state of negative self talk or doubting yourself, then we're not trusting in our innate ability. I won't go deep into this, but I will say that if we do not respect ourself, there is no way that we'll be able to trust ourself. And I'm just going to give that as like a little nugget. If you want to get deeper into that, I highly recommend you check out my self love program called The Shift. What does trust mean when we're just thinking of ourself? Well, it means that we trust in our ability. It does not mean that we trust that we will always get it right. There's a big difference there. If we can show up with love in our self trust, then what we're telling ourselves is that, self, I trust you. And I trust that even if you make a decision or it's not perfect, that you're going to be able to figure it out. I trust that you will be okay. I trust that you are mature enough, accountable enough, responsible enough that you will be able to move forward if things aren't going exactly as planned. On top of it, let's thrive in that, right? Not just maintain and survive. I trust in your ability. I trust that you most likely have more ability than you even recognize. So there's a very strong distinction between I trust that I will get this done in a certain way, or that it will be perfect, or that I will always accomplish things to this unrealistic expectation or standard that I may have set for myself. I always say expectations are just premeditated resentments. They are never helpful, and they always set us up for disappointment. When we truly trust ourselves, we trust that all will be well when we make a decision. We trust that when we fall down, we will get up again. Let me know how that feels to you in the comments down below. Self trust. Now, how do we then bring that into trust to others? This can be also a very, crunchy one for people because, if we've been betrayed before, especially multiple times, if we've been abandoned, neglected, what have you, hurt in any way. I think we all can say that we've been hurt in some way. It might be hard for us to trust others. We can acknowledge when there's a resistance in our body. I believe that our ability to trust in ourselves is directly correlated to our ability to trust in others. I have an abandonment wound. And so I don't trust that anyone will be able to meet with me and stay with me. That could be something where we could then look into ourselves and ask, in what ways have we also abandoned ourselves? Because we truly don't feel like we are worthy of consistent love, consistent support, consistent presence. So these are just questions to ask. I believe that our relationships are always such an amazing mirror and lesson for us to then go inward. Let's say you are just, having such a hard time trusting yourself. You're dealing with imposter syndrome. Maybe you're constantly seeking external validation. If you're in a state like that and you're wanting to cultivate more self-trust, I'm going to tell you one of the best ways to do it is to work on cultivating the trust in something greater than yourself. And that is spirit, divine, the universe, angels, guides, God, whatever you like to connect to. Your higher self might be that image for you. When you're feeling alone and you're feeling like you are lacking in that trust, you can always come back to the reminder that you are not alone, because your spiritual team or whoever you like to connect to is always there with you. And so if you're having a hard time coming into your own self-trust, you can sometimes sit back and go into prayer and, really tap in and say, okay, if I can fully trust in you and trust in you being there for me, then maybe I can trust in myself. Now, one of my favorite prayers is, God, help me to have a fraction of the trust in myself that you have in me. And I repeat that with many different words. Give me a fraction of the love that you have for me, for myself, the patience that you have for me, for myself. Let's go even more macro. Let's say you're having a very hard time trusting in something greater than yourself. We need to make it real. We need to be able to feel it biologically in our body. And that might start as simply as a meditation and prayer practice, or noticing the little synchronicities around you, the little messages we hear in songs, or in something that a loved one told us, or in seeing a number synchronicity. Those are the moments when you're in that frequency and magic of trust. Let me sit into that trust and say thank you. Now, the last thing I'll bring into this is that trust is a key component into, I always put it in big quotation marks, manifestation. And I put it in quotation marks because it's a very overly saturated word now. But in creating the life that you desire, you must have trust in yourself and in something greater than you, to know that you're not alone, and to know that you have guidance in this work, to trust in the process rather than always chasing a product. Trust is absolutely key if you're trying to achieve something. You absolutely have to be able to let go. Our ability to sit in stillness, to sit in receptivity, to receive messages, so that we get those validations and confirmations to build our trust. Trust is incredibly crucial to creating the life that you desire. That's a good journal prompt for you. Where do I have trust? Where can I cultivate more trust in my life? And what do I feel that I need to get there? The last thing I'll leave you on is the difference between trust and faith. In order to have faith, we have to have trust, and they are slightly different. Faith is an unwavering sensation. It is a complete knowing. You don't just come to that overnight. Trust requires work. In order for us to arrive, if you will, to a point of faith in something, how is trust showing up in your life right now or not showing up in your life? Are you suffering from imposter syndrome? And how is it feeling to you to lack that trust? How would it feel to you to have deep, unwavering trust in yourself? Do you trust that we are all connected? Do you trust that you will be okay regardless of what happens? Do you trust that you are not alone? These are all really powerful questions to ask yourself, and I encourage you to do so. And if this is something that you want to work on cultivating more, I suggest that you look down below at a link to access my free manifestation course, which gives you principles to apply in everything that you do to work towards those dream goals and achieving that life that you want. Check out the video that I'm putting up at the end of this. I love you guys. See you next time.